Greetings and welcome to Smartwatch Ticks. We're a YouTube channel on the web at smartwatchticks.com. This box is an elusive one. In fact, this whole product is elusive. It almost slipped by the radar because nobody knows about it. And it's not too obvious what all it can do until you dig into it. This is simple, but it's not all of it. In fact, there's stuff this thing does that isn't even here. Let me get into it. I'll explain what I'm talking about. When we open it up, we see we have a nice little module. We have a nice little band. It's removable. There's the pins. Deeper in the box, we've got a card that tells you about ECG testing. A manual, which we'll look at here in a minute. Is it starting to come alive now? ECG, temperature, all in one device? Yeah. And of course, then we've got the charging cord and 2-pin connector that'll go on the back and charge up the watch. Let me tell you about it, then we'll get into the manual, then we'll tell you all the things this beautiful watch can do. It's a Bakeey product. This is the E86. First of all, it's a nice 1.7-inch touchscreen watch with beautiful layout. It's going to be something worthy of wearing because it's going to, look decent and large, almost like the Apple, what are we up to now, 6, 7 version, where they keep making the screen a little bit bigger each time. Yeah. Anyway, $55 or so, probably have a discount for you, bring it down even more, combining temperature, ECG, heart rate, red diodes, infrared diodes, green diodes, pretty much everything you want to do in terms of health monitoring, even capability through the app to do remote monitoring of loved ones like mom and dad. All they got to do is wear the thing and you can connect into their data. In terms of specs, here we go. Let's run into it. PPG and ECG, heart rate monitoring, blood oxygen, blood pressure, body temperature. Yeah. And it does artificial intelligent cardiac, I don't like that word. We can't use that word here. It's not really doing more than providing you an interpretation of the results of the ECG report that it produces. And with that information, you can seek out an appropriate one of these from your health professional. Got to be clear on that. All of these devices take the data with a grain of salt and verify the accuracy for yourself. Here's some basic information about it, the languages that are supported both in the app and in the device itself. It's an IP68, they say, waterproof, which really blows my mind, something that can do ECGs and temperature, and it's IP68. You could actually wash your hands with it and get it wet. We'll see. Well, maybe we won't, but you'll see and let me know, okay? ECG, AI, all this, body temperature, respiratory rate. That's cool. It actually can monitor your breathing rate, and apparently it's got the exercises that you can do for inhale, exhale to reduce your overall stress. Heart rate, blood pressure, all of that. You got remote camera, sleep monitor, all the typical things in here. You can see who's calling. You can't answer it. There's no Bluetooth calling in this one, but you can definitely check it out on your watch. IPS TFT 240 by 280 pixel screen, which for its 1.7-inch size is great. 200 milliamp hour battery. You can get about 7 to 15 days of use out of this and standby over a month. Gang, wow, why haven't they talked this up more? Amazing watch. Let's look at the manual, then let's turn it on. We always page through these things, so in case you lose your manual, you can always look at it here toward the beginning. Now, notice the app is called SmartHealth. That's the one you're going to want to download. You could scan the QR code here or hit the link in the show notes. We'll take you over there. This is a well-done manual. It's colorful, it's pictorial, and it explains each of the things that the watch can do. So very impressed in how they put this thing together, all for around $55 or so. It's quite a health watch. You notice it didn't go into deep talking about what you call fitness and stuff. Here we go into another language now. And another one, there's just all kinds of languages supported in the manual. It's not really a fitness watch per se. You're not getting hundreds of different workouts that it automatically can sense and do. So this is for health monitoring, really. It can do a little bit of fitness, I'm sure. We'll see that. But yeah, it's really for doing the ECG stuff. Look at all of the different sensors there. Here's the, oh yeah, we got to take that off to get your electrical contact for ECG. Always want to make sure you get every little bit of plastic covering off on these things before you begin. I'm going to put the bands on it, charge it up, and I'm going to wear it for a while. So when you see it, it's going to have some real data on it and the app. Woohoo! Whoa, it looks long, but it's not really that long, especially for Mr. Ticks. So here we go. We got the band in here. Now, this is one of those mayonnaise bands. No, Malinese? Is that how you say it? Anyway, it's a kind that you slide it through the slot. Oh, look at that. There's a little cover we need to take off of here, too. Don't want to forget that one. Anything that looks like blue metal is probably some sort of a protector. We're going to slide it through. Now, I know, this is, I just want you to see in case you have a wrist that's bigger than 7 inches in circumference. Now, I got hands. Mrs. Tick says I've got amazing hands, but I don't know if she's talking about them being really bigger or what. But anyway, I've got hands that are on the, I think, rather larger than normal size. You be the judge. I'm going to slide this with this thing kind of caught right on the edge. Over here. Oh no, it's falling through. Oh no. Anyway, all right, I'm just going to put it on. There we go. Okay, now I level it off, I pull it tight, and I just let it go. It magnetically straps to my arm and doesn't fly off. And on this particular lightweight watch, this works really well. See, it's a little too loose. I need it to be really making good contact, especially at night for getting all of the diode data for blood oxygen and whatnot. There we are. Now, I got to tell you guys something. This is the Banggood Bakeey E86, right? Well, turns out I already reviewed the FIYPO FP8. And doggone if it isn't 100% exactly the same watch. Exactly. I mean, exactly the same thing. You know, every once in a while I screw up and I call in the watch. But look, they gave it a completely different name, number, and everything. Anyway, I'm showing you all these screens because I'm going to go into detail by giving you a little highlight of the review I already did on the FP8 right now. Here you go. That's what it looks like. Easy to snap in, quick remove watch bands. You can change them out to any kind you like. Going to press the button, show you the first watch face on here. Swipe down. You got control of all of these things. Do not disturb, your text messages. This is your twist your wrist to see the time, your overall brightness, which when you crank it all the way up is seriously bright. Too bright for us to do the review on. I got to have it on the lowest level. Easy to see outside. Reset and off, and that's everything there. When you swipe up, you're getting into all of your apps, of which most of them I'm going to show you right here. Hello, come on back to me. There we go. I'm going to go through this way. Here's your step count, distance traveled, and calories burned, and heart rate. Oh, interesting. Step and heart rate and calories. Oh, didn't notice that. Come over here, you get your temperature, and you get a real-time chart. Now, I've had it on a little while, and I have this one set to give me a temperature reading every 10 minutes, and it's on the chart automatically in the background. It's calibrated to give it to me in Fahrenheit, and I've got it listed in centigrade right there, which is pretty interesting. You can, of course, have the display in centigrade, too. Heart rate, there's your chart. It's calibrated against the numbers over here, and you leave it there long enough and you get your current heart rate. Otherwise, it just does it in the background every 10 minutes. I've taken it off and put it back on periodically just to show you guys the gaps in there, that it's not going to take readings of thin air. Here's the ECG. We'll be back to that in a little bit. Here's the blood pressure, and you can kind of see from the chart systolic over diastolic, the numbers, and there they are on the side. And of course, you'll get in black and white your current reading if you wait long enough for it. And then blood oxygen, which, folks, the other two were using the green diode. You see here, I've got the red diode, infrared, which you don't see, and green, using all three to calculate and compute your blood oxygen level, which is what's recommended because it seems to be more calibrated or more accurate when you're using that. Takes it a little while. You got to be quiet. You got to be still. Two things Mr. Tix isn't good at. This is breathing. Now, it's not one of those inhale, exhale kind of exercise things for mindfulness. This is actually monitoring my breath rate right now, somehow through my heart rate or through, I don't know. But it's doing it, and it gives me my estimated breaths per minute. It just vibrated, and you get that report. And you also get that report on a regular basis. You don't see the chart like you do on these other ones, but when you go to the app, you'll see that every 10 minutes or whatever schedule you have set, it's doing this along with everything else, and you get your breath rate. Here's a variety of sports, running, cycling, fitness, skip, so forth. Not a lot of activity there, but you can do it for sports if you want to. Nice big weather display. This is kind of, there you go, like a page of all of the basic apps, and they're the ones we've already done. So if you want to get into any of this stuff really quickly, guess what? From the watch face, instead of going this way, just go this way and pick it out, and there you go. In terms of the watch faces, we have a few different ones, but we don't have access to a watch store. So the ones that are installed are the ones that you get. So I'm going to show them all to you. You can get to them, of course, this way by pressing and moving through them, or you can toggle them from the app. I'll show you that briefly. This is an odd one. There's lots of squares I thought would have other data in it, but it doesn't. And that's all you got. Yeah, it's a bit testy on trying to do the twist your wrist. Here's a kind of a digital kind with the heart rate and just a charging symbol, which isn't like your battery charging. Not sure what's going on there. Here's an analog watch face, and I think we are back to this one, which is the one I like because I get heart rate, battery, time, all of that kind of stuff there. There, quick overview. Now we're back to the E86, and as you saw, we skipped over the ECG. When I land here, it says touch electrode, and it's already beginning. I'm going to cover this in really, really good detail because there's some amazing things to learn about it. First of all, you want some moisture here on your wrist. It's not wet typically, unless you've been sweating a bit. So I suggest you get a little bit of water on your finger, and if you're out and about, well, it's your finger, it's your tongue. You could lick it like that and kind of moisten underneath your wrist. There. Now, while my finger's still moist and while I'm still on that page, I'm going to touch the electrode. I like to squeeze the other side, and I just kind of hold it. Now look, everybody, I'm getting an actual, once it settles down, real Ecg chart unfolding live in front of me. It's a little bit off because I'm not sitting properly, I'm not relaxed, and I'm talking. So it's going to be kind of funky here, but it's enough that you see I'm getting the heart rate computation up above. This is what you call ECG versus PPG determination of heart rate. That being said, what we're actually doing is recording this heart wave in the watch. And I wanted to show you, notice the time, it's 10:01 in the upper right hand corner. I've done a bunch of these this morning, and I want to show you in just a moment in the app that it'll import each and every one of them. And, well, You'll see. We got to let this run out, though. The flashing dots don't mean anything other than that it's working. There, when it's complete, it just says go to app, and you can just bail out of it, do whatever you want. Now, time to bring over the app. It's called SmartHealth. This is from the Google Play Store. Look, it was last updated about a month ago, so they're keeping up with it, definitely. When you launch it, after you've set everything up, got yourself an account, and connected your band, you'll go right into this home page. If this is red, it means the watch is not connected. Now, one little issue I've had, it doesn't seem to easily auto reconnect. I wish it did. Sometimes it does. If it doesn't, I come over here. There it is, E86. I touch it, and it'll go ahead and connect up just fine. But, get it just set. Now, look at this. It says it's refreshing, which means it's updating and syncing. If I touch ECG Detection, here's where I could begin a chart. We'll do that in a moment. But if I touch here, it says refreshing again. See all of these that don't have that little orange AI diagnostics? These are the ones that I recorded on the watch. Look how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 so far. I don't know how many it would actually hold. I've never hit a limit. I think maybe at least 8, 10. But we've got these here now. Now, one interesting thing to point out, if you look at the dates and times, they're sequential from lowest to highest until you download a group of them that you did on the watch, and then it's from the earliest to the more recent is on the bottom. They're flipped, okay? So usually it's lowest, and your top one would be the newest one. But look at this. There's the one we did at 10 o'clock just now. Here's earlier. Let's look at that one. I say sync, and now it's going, I guess, off to the cloud. Syncing. Oh no, you know what? It's syncing to the watch, I believe, to pull in the complete record. These are just giving you the headlines. It's refreshed, and now it pulled in the complete record. If I touch this, you can see there's that noisy ECG chart, but it's not as noisy, it looks like, on the actual app. You can download this if you want to. It gives you your average heart rate, and heart rate variability during that time could be any time. Could be when you're just finishing a heavy-duty workout, then 5 minutes later, then 5 minutes later, then 5 minutes later, and you could analyze that to see how your recovery time is going. Amazing. Even gets more amazing when you hit AI diagnosis. Goes out, tells you I got a normal ECG in this one. It gives you some information. It's showing you your statistics. I'm logged in. I always try to set up an account as a female in case it's got period tracking. You won't see it if you're a male. And I always use different ages and heights and weights and things just to mix it all up. Here's your actual chart. And well, I can zoom it in that way anyway, but that's the chart that we just had. You could do a screenshot or download it, I'm sure. And then here's all of the different factors that it's screened for. And you can go in and read about any of these. Now, there's more details in the other watches and bands that I've reviewed that use this app. You can read each and every one of those if you want to, or just download the app and check it out on your own. We won't go into detail there. What I really want to show you is the process of doing this. So all of these records, all the way back to 7:02 this morning, 7:18, 7:38, 9:15, and so forth, all this morning that I took can be assessed by just touching it and syncing it and then going into the automatic AI diagnosis. But there's more. This is all the stuff related to taking the ECG on the watch, right? All by itself. Don't need to be tethered. Could be anywhere. And then later transferring it over and analyzing it. There's a whole nother way. And that's this way. When you went into the ECG detection area, initially, not touching here for your history, but being right here. You can touch here. It says wear it tightly. Yeah, it should still be wet, I hope. I'm going to even tighten it up more for this one. There we go. All I got to do, and this could be somebody, a mom, a dad, somebody with COVID that you've got this watch on. All you got to do is tell them to moisten their finger, just licked it, you on the other room could even hit start test there, switches over, and all they got to do is hit the hold the button on the right-hand side. I tend to hold the left-hand side as well, so I balance it and I'm not kind of pushing the watch that way, which might make it move. I'm doing that on purpose so you can see how bad it can get jiggled. It shows you the percentage complete down here. It's giving you the chart, plus or minus 1 microvolt, and it's doing it at the calibrated speed that's typical. There we got a couple of good beats. Okay, I'm going to hold still and be quiet, and then I'm going to get really crazy. And then I'm going to hold still again. It's got a little bit of a time delay. There's all the noise that I just generated, and we are 66% through. Are you seeing that? I think it's, yeah, it looks like in the camera you can see it. The phone's a little bright, but we got the ECG chart there. And as we get to the end, I'm going to rub my finger and then come back and touch it, and it should give me junk at the very end. 95, 80, well, I guess I was a little beyond. Okay, here's our whole chart. Look at that. And this is the AI diagnosis. It went right straight into it. There's the chart. There's all the stuff I did and messed it all up. Here's the beginning of it. Are you seeing that? I'm going to dim it down a little bit. Let's get a good brightness for you. How's that? I know. I love it. Display brightness. Not in the Google Play Store anymore, but, you know, we've got it here. You can download an old version of it, install it on your phone or watch or anything. Okay, there you go. That's your ECG chart. That's your ECG report. Again, if I had anything going on, it would show up right here. So you can do it remotely or you can do it on the watch. And when you get back here to your summary, it's refreshing. And the newest record should be, well, there's the 10 o'clock one. Let's redo it again. Refreshing. Okay, well, this is the 7 o'clock one, the 9 o'clock one, the 10:07, 10 o'clock. All right, I'm a little confused, but here you go. Here's the most recent one we just did. Probably because I have not synced the rest of these, the ordering is jumbled. So, you know, sync them and you'll get your AI diagnosis and your record. When we go back into here, there's the actual waveform itself, the real live thing. Heart rate variability. And look at this. When you do it remotely, you can get the blood pressure computation. That's PPG plus ECG. Real quick, here's how it works. You got blood pumping through your arm. It hits the diodes when they're on in the back, and that gives you your heart rate from PPG. But it takes a little while to come from your heart to the watch. ECG, using the electrodes on the back and the one on the side, boom, boom, it's like that. The electrical signal is immediate. There's a slight time delay between the time the pulse comes and hits the watch of your blood oozing through your capillaries and the electrical pulse that got there earlier. That time delay is called the pulse wave transit time, PWTT. Using PWTT in your baseline blood pressure, it can detect if the PWTT is short, that the blood is moving faster through your arteries to your capillaries, and therefore your blood pressure is higher. So it can compute a differential increase over your standard. So you always want to make sure you're using an app that lets you put in standard. Otherwise, it uses 120 over 80 as baseline. But if you're hypertensive, you're like 188 over 82 or something like that. You put that in, what your cuff measures, you calibrate it. There's that whole process is actually in here, in the blood pressure section down here. Blood pressure, where are we? BP. Blood pressure calibration. Again, talked about in other apps about this, so go through that. But you set that whole thing up, and using the PWTT computation when you're doing the ECG remotely from the phone. Now, won't do it when you're just capturing it here because it doesn't. But when you're capturing it from the phone, you can get that blood pressure reading, which appears to be much more tuned. I don't want to say accurate, but I'll say much more tuned in terms of combining two different ways of assessing heart rate and the difference between the two, giving you your blood pressure. Here you go in the chart now, and this is just PWTT blood pressure using the diode. When it does it every 10 minutes, there's the computations or whatever you set. And that's what it looks like in the chart. Every 10 minutes, high, low, and kind of statistically you can tell whether, roughly where you're at, and giving you your low and your high there. And it's midnight to there every day. Here's yesterday, okay? And you could just keep a record of that. Does that for blood pressure, does that for heart rate. Here's our heart rate computations. Notice it's kind of bouncing up and down a lot, and I'm not really being active and inactive during those times. It's every 10 minutes. But sometimes it just jumps crazy. So I'm not sure. Maybe I don't have it tight enough. I would presume I need to have it really tight and be remaining still for these computations to be accurate. But you got heart rate, blood pressure, and we've got blood oxygen, which is the other computation. Now this is wild. It's looking like fixated at 98% for a long time there. Yet earlier it was kind of all jumbled up. Yeah, I'm not sure on blood oxygen, and that's the critical one that's using the red diode, infrared diode, and green diode. But that's the numbers that we're getting, and I guess what we're really looking for is if it dips significantly. Now, because it's doing it every 10 minutes or longer, if you set that, it's not really appropriate for computing whether or not you're having a sleep apnea event, unless you happen to actually have that event occur at 2:10 in the morning, exactly, and it dropped way down, and then you'd see a number. So it's not like some of the other bands. It's the one thing that's really missing on here is scientific sleep measurement, which would make it absolutely the top of the pyramid. To be able to assess on a minute-by-minute basis your blood oxygen to see if you're holding your breath during sleep apnea, and then vibrate the watch. We have them that'll do that. Just go to smartwatchtix.com, go over there to the playlists, and look for the playlist with watches or bands with sleep apnea in it. And all of them that do it, I've got it listed there. This one doesn't, but it does all this other kind of great stuff, especially accumulating ECG readings and transferring them over. What have we missed? Sleep. Not scientific sleep, and that's the only missing thing. Like I just said, you're getting basic. You've got when you fell asleep, when you got up, deep sleep, light sleep, no REM sleep, no sleep apnea computations, no Lorenz scatter diagrams that show you the condition of your heart based on a pattern on a two-dimensional plot. You see that when you look at the sleep apnea capable watches and bands that use the blood oxygen continuously during the night. We just went into the ECG. You've looked at all of that stuff. This is your step count stuff, when it happened during the day from midnight to midnight, and the steps you did in each half-hour window, distance and calories burned, basic stuff. And you can do it day by day, weekly, monthly, so forth. Here's that respiratory rate stuff. Now look at this. These are the number of breaths I took per minute, supposedly, in a 10-minute window when it tests it. Okay, there's 21 there. I got some way down here, around 10 breaths per minute at 2:50 in the morning. That makes sense. I'm asleep, yeah. And if I'm out exercising, it should be a whole lot higher. I would expect it to be 20, 30, 50 breaths per minute. I don't know. But I haven't really exercised with this. But here you go. You're seeing it's happening every 10 minutes. Again, you can set that from 10 minutes up in increments up to like once every 2 hours or something. And it does all of this at once. And then, if it weren't good enough already, you've got temperature. Once you've had it on for a while, let's say 10 minutes or so, and it's been able to normalize to your body temperature, it's going to measure your skin temperature and estimate your body temperature from that. And you can see here it's pretty consistent. I'm just under 98 for my body temperature. Now maybe skin temperature, because usually you're supposed to be 98.6, right? And I'm hovering in the 97.0 to 0.5 range every 10 minutes again. Probably your best is in the middle of the night when you're fast asleep in bed. 97.5-ish. Is what it's coming up with. You can set an alarm on this one where whatever you set, like I've set 100 degrees, because 100.4 is the threshold that they consider you sick and you can't get on an airplane, that kind of stuff. So if I hit 100, it's going to alarm me. Even if it's an aberrant one, because I've got my watch tucked under my armpit or some other warm place and it, raises the temperature, it would let me know. So that's in here too. And all that's in the download. The activity stuff, the care stuff, all of those things. The other things, the device status. This is where you get into the different themes. These are your watch faces that you can pick if you want to confirm it. It'll switch it over to that particular theme. Notifications, alarm clock. Here's your health monitoring. Like I say, you can go from 10 minutes to 60 minutes. That's your range. You got a temperature alarm again that you can turn on or off and set that whole thing. And your heart rate alarm so that it'll notify you if you exceed a certain level. I like to be up in the aerobic zone, not the anaerobic zone, not necessarily critical zone. So if I'm working out, I'd like it to vibrate when I've hit the threshold that I want to be above and stay above. So you can set this to whatever you want. It's not necessarily danger zone, stop doing it, whatever you're doing. You can change your screen intensity, but of course we did that and showed you that already. Wearing it position is really important, left or right, because the ECG chart will be upside down if you get it backwards. Best to wear on the left and touch with your right hand to get a good ECG, but you can do it the other way as long as you make sure you switch it here. Otherwise, those peaks that go up will be going down. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. So there you have it. This is basically the same watch as the FIYPO FP8. I covered a little bit more in the review of the app over there. By the way, you press the button, it gets you back into all of your activities this way. So you have so many ways of getting there. That way, you can go over that way, and they're all laid out like this. So lots of ways to get anywhere you want to go on this watch. This is the E86 from Banggood, and this is the information on it. So you can jump in here and use the link in the show notes to head over there. Got a price of about $55, and if we can get you a good discount on that, check the FB8 review as well. There's also a link in that review, and you could use that link if you want to pick that one up. This one, you can see it comes in a variety of different bands, styles. There's the leather type, the TPU, and you've seen the metal type here, which I particularly like, especially on this lightweight one, because I can hug it in good and tight. I don't get any light leakage at night either. So yeah, I really like this combination. I'll be wearing it a lot. That's it for today, gang. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you again soon. Yee-hee!